Okay, hi. This is the week one video, and I must be out of practice a little bit because this is the third take. So, I don't know. But anyway, this being the week one video, I want to welcome you again to the class. Um, it's nice actually to be back in the saddle, teaching again at Baypath. And since I've had many of you in classes before, it's nice to be working with you as you start your last journey, the 650, 670 courses. Um, except for one of you who I know is going to be taking classes after 670. But at any rate, very nice to be working with you all. There are 16 students in the class, so that's actually a lot for a capstone and well, a 650, 670 course. Uh, but I think it will allow us to have some robust and interesting discussions in the forums. Um, okay, and just one other thing related to that then, you all hopefully still have my phone number, 413-237-7475. We'll be talking quite a bit during the course actually, both online and individually, because 650 and 670 has a fair amount of independent study involved in it, and I want to be able to support you as best I can. Normally that's through individual conversations. Okay, um, so having said that, let's get it to week one. Um, Essentially, we're going to start down two parallel paths here that we'll pursue throughout the course. The first is the readings in Boldman and Deal about reframing organizations. The point here is to help you better understand how and why the organization that you'll ultimately be leading and now work in, help you better understand why it does what it does. Uh, Organizations aren't always rational, they're not always straightforward, they're not always easy to understand. And so the purpose of the Bowman and Deal book is to give you uh, four frames through which to look at your organization and try to understand why it's doing what it's doing. Um, I won't go into the four structural frames here, but I'll just list them very quickly. In the previous takes, I rambled on and on and on, and so I'll try to avoid that mistake here. The first frame is structural. It has to do with the organizational chart of the organization and who's responsible for what. If organizations were always rational and went according to the organizational chart of roles and responsibilities, it would be easy to understand, but it doesn't always do that. A second frame is the human resources frame, and this takes into account, right, that your employees and the people who work with you every day as colleagues, um, they're human beings. They have their own personal desires, aspirations, and they may or may not coincide with the aspirations and goals of the organization. And so sometimes then people don't always act as you think they might or would want them to. A third frame is the political frame, and this isn't about you know, the chatter that goes on in an organization. It really is political in the sense that not organizations don't have a blank checkbook, right? They have limited resources, and so those resources have to be divvied up somehow, and there'll be winners and losers in the divvying up of resources. So the P, or the political framework, has to do with the process of how those limited resources actually get divvied up. And it's a political process, and so there's the political frame through which to view your organization. The fourth one has to do is called the symbolic frame, and it has to do with the notion that we as human beings always want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We don't just go to work each day to get a paycheck. We go to work because we want to be something bigger than ourselves. We want to work for an organization that is bigger than the sum of its parts. And so as a leader, you have to be able to inspire that sort of commitment from your employees so that they do get up every day, they do come to work, they do give their all. Okay? Okay, so those are just 4 frames that are in the Bowman and Deal book. We'll be getting an introduction to them this week through the readings. And the other aspect of this is that as human beings ourselves, we typically tend to see the world through one of those 4 frames: structural, human resources, political, or symbolic. And what's important to recognize is that we do have this tendency to look at the world through one of those frames to the exclusion of the others. And to the extent that we exclude the other perspectives of the organization, we tend to be blindsided. We don't understand why an organization is, or people within the organization are functioning as they are, because they should be through our frame, whereas they're seeing the organization through a different frame. And those different perspectives are driving different actions. Okay, so the point there just being appreciate and try to think about the frame through which you see the world and how it may blind you to understanding how others see your organization and what is motivating their actions that you may or may not really understand. Okay, the second track we're going to be going down this week is just thinking a little bit about a possible topic for your capstone paper. By the end of the 3rd week of the course, you have to have a topic for your capstone paper. You have to have a research question. Okay, that is the question that you want your capstone paper to answer. Okay, so we're going to have an assignment this week and an assignment next week that hopefully focuses you on a topic, and we'll also have a phone call in the 2nd week to help you think more about that. If you want to call before the 2nd week, feel free to. The hardest thing that most students have in doing their capstone paper is deciding what their topic and their research question is going to be. And the reason why that is the hardest thing is because, gee, when it's a big paper, and you want it to be good. But it's also like where you have to get started. And people who have a hard time with the capstone don't get the question early in the 650 course. Like they procrastinate or they can't decide, or it just kind of drags on 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th week. Oh no, if that happens, you're going to have a terrible capstone because the capstone paper takes a long time to write, long time to research, long time to process everything. So I'm babbling here, sorry, but I'm trying to make the point that focus on a topic for your capstone paper. Okay, that's really important. You got to nail this down by the 3rd week. Okay, all right. So I'm almost at 10 minutes, so I think I'll quit there. Again, welcome to the course. This is really a fabulous course. The book is fabulous, Bowman and Deal's Reframing Organizations. It's really, really good. I wish I had read it when I was a major manager in a nonprofit. So that's just an endorsement of the book. Okay, I think we're done. Again, 413-237-7475. Call anytime, and I look forward to seeing you online. Okay, bye-bye.